Yo, 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 welcome to Pitch Report. I'm Mario.
And I'm Amilcar. How you doing today, Mario?
Doing well, doing well. Just a few days away from the World Cup. I'm feeling excited.
I
How are you?
know. I know. I'm doing good. I've seen a lot of the videos of the teams kind of arriving and stuff. I actually saw a funny one. I think Spain just got to Puebla and they were like greeted with like mariachi and this whole
Oh,
thing. And then
nice.
I think that the Senegal team got to the US. It was like TSA, like triple check and stuff like that. It was just like the tale of two sides, man. They're like, wow, like how different things are.
I'm sure they're under like a nutrition plan, but if Spain can have any of like mole, like Puebla's got some good
What about the
food.
crickets, Mario? Should we share
Oh,
the photo of eating the crickets when you went?
you can get some good crickets. Yeah, they're cooked crickets with chamoy. But I'll see if I can pull it up and I'll post
Oh
it
my
on our
God.
on our
Yeah,
Instagram.
I have this like hilarious screenshot. I think it was from like back in Snapchat days. And
Yeah.
it was you wearing a cowboy hat, right? And then eating the crickets on the streets in Puebla. I'm like, that is too funny.
I'm actually in the search of a cowboy hat. I'm going to a wedding and the pre-party's cowboy theme, so I actually am looking to procure one.
Oh, no way. Oh,
Yeah.
procure. Wow, Mario. Wow, you're letting corporate speak get into the podcast.
Yeah. All right. Shall we dive in? I'm just kidding.
Let's circle back on that later, Mario.
I did see. I think it's Switzerland. They're based in San Diego, and the Swiss team were like given like a picture of where they're training, and they're like right next to a canyon in San Diego, and like there's like a graphic showing like snake area, basically telling the players not to like divert too far from the field because like the rest of it is like snake country. Which if you're in San Diego, you're familiar with that and like coyotes and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I saw that exact graphic and I just thought that was so funny because I'm like, it's not like the second you step over, you're just gonna be attacked by snakes. It's just like it's just this generally like could be potentially a snake in the canyon over there, but people are freaking out like, oh wow, I can't believe that they're gonna be practicing there. It's like this whole thing. I'm like, okay, it's fine.
Yeah, I mean it's scary if you didn't know about it.
Yeah, I wonder if there's even snakes in Switzerland. They're just like, what the hell is this, man?
I don't know, lots of trains, but yeah, I don't know.
Lots of trains. Wait, where's that coming from?
They have a great train system. It's
Really?
very scenic. It's a beautiful, beautiful place. Very mountainous, so they had to really get good at their trains.
Oh, you went to Switzerland, right? Last year, no, 2 years ago?
4
No,
years ago, yeah,
4? Oh my God.
yeah,
Okay. I thought it
dude,
was a couple years ago.
yeah, one World Cup ago.
Oh man, that's funny. Well, speaking of the World Cup, what a transition, Mario, man. Look at you.
Okay, well,
Already
actually, I wanted to
starting.
do our another Panini opening.
Oh,
Let's see
okay,
who
sweet.
can get the better players. Since Amilcar, you are not able to see what we got, I will give him a shuffle, and then you can tell me which ones you want. We'll do 3 and 3.
All right.
All right, so you can pick.
I mean, I'm not sure how this is gonna work, Mario. Should I highlight, just point your way?
Sure. Okay. Tell me
That
when to
one.
stop. This one?
The one in the back, yeah.
Okay, this one.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, you got the whole Bosnian soccer team.
What?
Entire team. Not bad.
Wait, is that so? Do they do that one along with every single player?
Yes. 20 players, and then you also get like the logo, like in holographic for like the like federation.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Do they do
So
the head coach as well?
no, they do not. That's actually
No,
would be a good one.
man, it's
But
messed up.
given a lot of teams kind of have fired coaches like semi recently, that'd be a hard one. All right, I guess you could pick because I'm looking at all of them. So you pick your
Yeah.
other one.
That last one.
This one?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not sure who this is, but Vladimir Kufal, he plays in
Good
Germany
for me.
for Hoffenheim.
And they're okay.
Oh,
What
sorry.
nation was that?
Oh, Czechia.
Oh, Czechia. Okay,
Yeah.
sweet.
All right, and then you get one more.
And then I'll take the middle one.
This guy?
That one. Yep.
Ayman Hussein, he plays in Iraq.
Man. You're just like clown. You're like got him as you're staring at them all.
I will say not the strongest pack in general. So I got Victor Lindelof. He plays for Sweden.
Okay.
And then I got
In my defense, you have 4 players. Just FYI.
Noah Siddiqui.
Okay.
Almost like your cousin's name, Siddiqui.
I know.
And then I got also someone from Iraq. Manaf Yunus also plays in Iraq. So very similar. And then this is what the emblem looks like. So this one is, I think, the Turkey A1.
Yeah, I was gonna say it looks like
be
Turkey.
talking about. But it looks very similar to the Tunisia one. So you have like when you're filling out the paninis, you have to really pay attention between the Tunisia and Turkey players, or at least for me, because the flags and crests are very similar.
Does it
Also,
have like a
Australia, New
little shadow
Zealand.
on it or no? Like when you on
They
the
both have
sticker?
like the half moon with the stars.
Oh, okay.
And then New Zealand, Australia, the flag is essentially the same, but it's just different colored stars.
Uh-huh.
It's like white stars for Australia, if I remember correctly, and then at least in my eyes, it looks red for the New Zealand one. I'm not sure if there's if it's a different like tint.
Yeah.
So, anyways, I'd call this one a draw.
Yeah,
So
that's
who got
literally
the
what I was
better
gonna say.
team?
I was like, I think, yeah, we can figure it out. We'd have to put that into like ChatGPT or something to figure out who actually got the better team this time.
Agreed.
But all right, let's jump into Group D, man. There's a lot of groups. I think we were talking about this off the air. I was like, it's overwhelming how many teams there are, and just trying to keep like everybody straight. And even like you mentioned, like even some of the flags look the same, and it's just because there's so many teams, it's a lot going on here. But yeah, let's start with this. So Group D, we got USA, Paraguay, Australia, and Turkey. What are your thoughts, I guess, preliminarily on this draw?
Well, just looking at the FIFA rankings, it's USA 17, Turkey 22, Australia 27, and Paraguay 40. So it's a pretty even group. We were talking in one of the previous groups where I think it was maybe like 40 something places between like the third and fourth highest ranked teams
Yeah,
in
I
the
think it was the
group.
Brazil with Haiti.
Yes.
And all of it. Yeah.
Yeah, those were like I think like 80 or 70 something places between them two. So this group is very tight.
Mhm.
I guess it's gonna make it a little bit of the more interesting groups to actually predict and get right.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I think. Well, wait. So you said that you think it'll be easier to predict and get right because it's a tighter.
No, it'll be harder.
One? Oh, harder. Okay, I was like, wait, hold on. That doesn't make any sense at all. Agreed. I think this is going to be a really tough one. I think this is probably going to be one of the more exciting groups because they're all kind of grouped together, and this kind of goes against what we had said last time about there being really boring games potentially. Where I don't know that there's going to be any boring games really in this one because I think everyone's relatively evenly matched. For me, I think the two that I kind of have a slightly above the other two is US and Turkey. I think US, obviously, they're playing at home. I think had they not been playing at home, I think I maybe would have like Paraguay above them. But I think the home field advantage is going to help them here playing in the US, and hopefully like their dynamic gets a little bit better. They're kind of playing a little bit more together. The last couple of games, it seems like Pulisic is kind of coming back to his old form that it seems like he had a little bit earlier on AC Milan, and then he kind of lost it a little bit towards the end of the year. So he's kind of coming together a little bit. And Turkey, I think they have what I think is arguably like one of the best young players in Arda Güler. And obviously I'm biased because I'm a Real Madrid fan, but I think he's one of like the better midfielders, and he showed it even in these last couple friendlies. I think he had a what do you call it? The
hamstring?
No, goal from the corner.
Sorry. Gol Olímpico?
Yeah, there you go. So he had one of those like yesterday, I think.
Oh, okay,
so
nice.
That's like super impressive. And he's just really, really good stud. I think he's a good guy to have setting the forwards up, which I think sometimes we have teams with really good forwards, but no one to set them up. And that kind of just gets them stuck. But this is kind of the opposite where we have really, really good midfield there. So, yeah, I think for me, if you want to jump to the rankings, what we rated people, I think I had Turkey going first. We left Mr. Leo's rankings on here just, to empathize with him. But I have Turkey going first, then USA, Paraguay, Australia. I think this is a group where Paraguay comes out in the third place, in my opinion. Although I guess now that I'm thinking about it, because it's so evenly matched, are they going to kind of beat each other up to where they're going to be all lower scored? Or what do you think about that?
I think they will beat each other up, and this will be one of the groups that when they have the third match day, they're going to. It'll be very exciting. Some games might be in other groups might be like determined by game 3. This will not be one of those games. This will be where it's Turkey, US, and then Paraguay, Australia playing each other for the third game, and it'll come down to like the final minutes would be my guess. And similar to what you're saying, so I guess to answer your question, this probably will be a scenario where the third place team has maybe 4 points And I do think this group will definitely have a third place team that moves on to the next round just because of how even they will be. Even in other World Cups, I've seen Mexico move on with 4 points as a second place team before they had like the best place team.
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely see like this group being one where 3 teams will move on. It just depends on which order it'll be. And yeah, similar to your point, I do think I put US higher than Turkey only on the basis that they're the home team. I think Canada, Mexico, and the US are going to show up well. Statistically speaking, most groups make it out of their respective groups when they host a World Cup. The only exception was Qatar and South Africa, which in those cases aren't teams that usually qualify to the World Cup, although they're both here this time. So I just gave them the slight edge, but I do think Turkey might have like the better team at the moment.
Just home field advantage is where you're giving them getting first place.
Yeah, I also think there's something about American sports, especially when they play at home. I think they in the big stage they tend to deliver. It's like Team USA in general is used to winning in everything. You could argue soccer is the one thing where we're not dominant in the male sport, even in like women's sport. In women's soccer, we're one of the we are the best team historically speaking. But I think Team USA is going to show up. I'm kind of hoping for like a 1980 Lake Placid Miracle on Ice like type of magic. I think we'll have like a Miracle on Grass, where the US in a crazy world, I could see them having like a semifinal run or something like that.
Really, a semifinal run?
Just based on like good vibes, energy. I think that
I just love that you're defending your thing. Well, just good vibes, vibes because in the US, vibes are gonna be good, so they're gonna win a couple games.
I think the crowd's really going to support them. They had a friendly against Germany. They lost 2-1, but I think something we're maybe not thinking about is it's going to be really hot in some of the places where the US is playing.
Oh yeah,
and I think some of the teams that are not used to that weather, some of the European teams might struggle a little bit more than they might expect to. So I do feel that might play to Team USA's advantage.
Yeah, I mean, I will say I agree with you on that. I think a lot of the teams have already been saying that they're struggling with the heat. I think Norway was a big one, which is kind of funny because it probably never gets really hot up there. So they were one of the ones that were saying that it was hot. I think England was complaining about not even just the heat, but I think they played in the final stadium. I think they played in New Jersey for a friendly, and they were saying that the pitch wasn't great, that it was too hot. So I mean, we'll see. I think there was a lot of complaints about that during the Club World Cup last year, and I think they changed a couple of stadiums based off that to try to do dome stadiums in certain areas and stuff like that. So hopefully that'll help alleviate that. But I think it's still gonna be toasty. Like even SoFi, I think it's open air, but it still gets pretty hot in there.
Oh, really?
Even though it's technically covered.
Yeah, that'll be interesting how it plays out. Another curious thing about Team USA in this World Cup is that they've actually played all 3 teams within the last year.
Oh, really?
So they beat Paraguay and Australia, and then they lost 2-1 to Turkey. So it could be like a good, like it would basically kind of show your prediction to be right based on that information, at least for first and second. Then Paraguay, Australia could be kind of a hard to determine. Something I do want to give Australia credit to that made me almost put them third is that in 2022, they gave Argentina a pretty good fight in, I think, the round of 16 of the World Cup, who ended up winning the World Cup, but they played them pretty hard. So they're a team that can be scrappy, that can have a lot of heart. So I almost thought about like giving them that. They still ended up losing, and I think Paraguay ended up coming out from a much tougher qualifier, which is CONMEBOL. So that's why I just had them a little bit over.
Yeah, and I think for Paraguay, it's something that we talked about in other with other teams was like playing locally. And I think a lot of their team plays in Latin America and not a ton of European players. So I think a lot of them kind of can see each other, play with each other a lot more consistently, and play the similar style, right? So I think that also helps them out a little bit as well in that regard.
Yeah, absolutely. So it'll be a very interesting group. So we'll see how we end up basically doing for this one.
Yeah, we'll see. So let's move on to Group E, Mario. So Group E, we got Germany. Oof, I don't even know who CUW is.
Curacao.
Oh, Curaçao. What? That's such an interesting, like, what, I don't even know what this is,
Like,
abbreviation.
yeah, it is. I found that to be the case also with some of the Panini countries as well.
So, all right, Germany, Curacao, Ivory Coast. See, that one I knew. And Ecuador. All right, this is another one where I think you have potentially a top dog in Germany, and then the other three could kind of go any way potentially. That's kind of how I'm looking at it. What are you thinking right off the bat?
That was my very same like initial thought. Top dog Germany. But I think they might be a little bit more name value. They do have a younger team that,
Hmm.
and they did just beat the US. But
Are
I
you
don't
talking yourself
know.
out of your predictions, Mario?
No, I'm not. I'm not. I'm just saying. I think Ivory Coast and Ecuador could be sneaky good, and I do think Curacao might be the team that has the toughest going this World Cup. But I could see maybe Germany not winning this group. They haven't gotten out of the group stage in the last two World Cups, which is kind of crazy. You would
Mhm.
usually, if you see their name, you just expect them to be like one of the best wherever they're
Yeah.
playing. But I don't know. I could see them not necessarily having that be the case.
Yeah, and it's similar to when we were talking about yesterday about Italy not being the World Cup, but
Yeah,
just the name makes you think that they're going to be good. So maybe this is the kind of exactly what you're saying here, where it's like Germany historically has been thought of as a really good team, but they're still number 10 ranked, right? So they're
yeah.
still a decent team, and but now you're kind of just saying like maybe the name is actually what's carrying them and not actually the talent on the team. So I mean, I think that's a bold take, just because I think people probably have Germany going at least a couple of rounds. I know I definitely do, just because I think they're generally a pretty good team. They play very very solid, very intense football, and so yeah, I mean, in my opinion, I have them winning the group. But so who do you think is going to potentially out them?
I think it could be Curacao. Sorry, not Curacao. I actually think Curaçao's gonna like have a really tough go, as I mentioned. But I think Ivory Coast or Ecuador might actually do better.
Mhm.
And I'm going kind of, and I can show like the graphic of what we both thought just to show kind of what I was teasing. Um, Ecuador came
Wow.
second in CONMEBOL qualifying.
Mhm.
They have really good players right now, and CONMEBOL is a dogfight. Like there's always really good teams that don't make the World Cup. So to come second in qualifying, I just think they have a good thing going for them right now. Uh, so I'm hoping that the last time I felt really excited about a team like this because they had a good qualifying was Canada, and they ended up disappointing. So I'm hoping that's not what happens this time around. But I really do see them having like a pretty good run. And on a similar note, I put Ivory Coast second for that same reason. They had a pretty good qualifying too. They had 8 wins and 2 ties, and they conceded 0 goals. They weren't scored on 10 games qualifying, didn't allow a goal. And they actually recently beat France 2-1 in the one of their friendlies, which
Mhm.
I take this with a grain of salt. I think players are just trying to get to the World Cup, kind of tune themselves up, not
Mhm.
really get injured. So that's why I actually kind of have them going first and second.
Yeah, and CONMEBOL is the same conference as like Brazil, Argentina, and all of them.
Yeah, South America. Thank goodness Mexico's not on that one, or we wouldn't be in as many World Cups.
Wait, that's huge then. I think that's probably a huge deal if they got second place. So what was do you know what the final ranking was?
Yeah, so Argentina came first,
Uh-huh.
Ecuador, Colombia third, Uruguay fourth, Brazil fifth, and then Paraguay took the
Wow.
sixth spot.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
Like
but then that means
and similar to what we're talking about, right? Do you think Brazil, like, they're a favorite to win the World Cup, but then they came in fifth in their own division, so to speak, right?
yeah, basically, yeah, they were struggling a little bit. I think then Ancelotti came along and kind of like got them a little bit better. But yeah, so Ecuador had 29 points. Argentina had 38. So they were about
Wow.
a good
Right.
amount different. But Ecuador did have a point deduction. I want to say it was 3 points for, I forgot for what reason, but they did have points deducted against them for some sort of thing that happened.
Oh wow. That's interesting. I'm like, I feel like sometimes that happens when they start players that weren't registered, or I guess maybe that's maybe in the club side of things where they end up starting a player that's not registered and then they get points deducted or something like that. But I don't think I've ever heard of it in a like for a national team. So I'm like, what the heck?
Yeah, I hadn't heard of it either, but apparently it's because they used a document containing false information to obtain a passport for Colombian-born player Brian Castillo.
Oh my god! So they were trying to probably nationalize a Colombian player to play for Ecuador.
Yeah, it seems like it.
Dang.
You know.
That's so comical because it's funny because I feel like, and I guess it's something we can bring up now, like people playing for countries outside of where I guess they were born or their parents are from, so like just basically naturalizing into a different country. It's almost becoming like club football. Not obviously not to the same level, right? But now people are like, oh well, I'm just gonna go live in like, I don't know, Spain for a couple of years, get my passport, and then I'll play for them, you know, or as like a young kid. So what do you think about that? Do you think that they should be able to just move somewhere, live there for a couple of years, and then play for the national team?
I mean, technically they can. I think it really depends case by case basis. Right now, Mexico has Quiñones, who's a Colombian-born player, but he's like killing it in the Saudi league, and he's looking pretty good for us. So I'm all for it right now. We have had, I think, in most World Cups, at least one foreign-born player, and I don't think they usually are that instrumental. I mean, the preference would probably be to have them actually born and raised in your country. But I think it really depends on the circumstance. Like Santi Jimenez, his parents are Argentinian, but he was born in Mexico and raised in Mexico, so he feels Mexican. So I think it really depends. Because I guess maybe Spain could have had Messi, right?
Yeah, right. Because he was as like a young kid, but
yeah. What are your thoughts?
I don't know. I think it could go a lot of different ways. I think when your parents or grandparents or something are from that country or you're born there, like fair. But I think if it gets to the point where people are like, all right, I'm just gonna move to this other country for a couple of years and get my citizenship there and then start playing for them, I think that's where it's gonna get a little bit dicey. The good part is that most players are starting to play for national teams relatively young.
Yeah.
So it's not like they're gonna make this decision consciously. I think people are starting to get their caps sometimes in friendlies like 16, 17, 18 years old, their first cap. And I think once you have your first, you play with a senior team, I think you're kind of locked in to that team, right? Yeah. So there's a lot of players that play. I think Brahim Diaz was a perfect example. He played all his under 16, under 17, under 18, all with Spain. And then when it went to the national team, he decided to go play for Morocco, you know, because he hadn't played any senior team caps. So I think as long as you have either family or like your parents or you were born there, I think that should be what it comes down to. But there's some people, I think, I don't know if it's Dean Housen, where his grandma, I think, is Spanish, but then his parents were born in the Netherlands, and then he was born in the Netherlands, and now he's playing for Spain, or not in the World Cup this year, you know, Parma, I guess. But something like that, that's where I think it gets a little bit interesting.
Yeah, totally. You guys had, I think, Diego Costa, or you had he played. Diego Costa, he could have played for Brazil, but he went for Spain, right?
Yeah, he went for Spain, played one World Cup, and it was the one World Cup where we just did absolutely terrible.
Yeah, I think you were defending World Cups champ, so he was probably like, here we go.
Yep, he's like, back to back, baby, I got this.
Pull the Kevin Durant.
Right? Yeah, signed up for the best team, or at least on paper at that moment. But so yeah, I think that's like a situation like that where you're not born in the country, your parents aren't from the country, and you're just like, all right, I'm just gonna go play for this country. I think it's also interesting because if you're that good, you probably aren't gonna end up playing at an older age, right? You end up at a younger age playing for these teams. So one that I think is interesting is Marcelo's son. He plays for Spain.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Born and raised in Spain, obviously when Marcelo's playing for Real Madrid, and now his son is a striker, I think, for the under 17, under 18 team right now. He's the captain for their team, and you'll see Marcelo at the games with the Spanish jacket and stuff. And they just said like he was kind of like what you said was Santi Jimenez. He was born in Spain. His whole life is in Madrid. Like that's all he knows. He's like, he loves being Brazilian, but all he knows and his life is Spain. So he felt like it was appropriate to represent Spain, at least now. Who knows when it gets to the senior level, if he ends up, panning out and playing well, what he ends up picking.
I mean, and that's like a circumstance where you have a really fair claim to either one. And regardless, between Spain and Brazil, you're going to have to be really good to play for either one of those teams.
Oh, yeah. I think I saw a graphic where it was like we could have Cristiano Ronaldo Jr., Mateo Messi, or Thiago Messi, and like I don't know what.
Maybe Zidane's kids, but
no, it was Marcelo's kid, but like all of them playing with together because we're all born in Spain. So it's like just something crazy to think that like if they actually chose to do that, they could all play in the same country.
Oh, that'd be crazy.
I know, right? But anyways, let's circle back and do our last group here. So we have Group F. That's going to be Netherlands, Japan, Sweden, and Tunisia. This is the one that's confusing, funny enough, because it is the
the logo. You see what I mean, right? Like the half moon with the star. With the star, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So this one, I think it's almost, for me, it looks like it's kind of 1 to 4 right here.
Yeah, I think it is.
The way it's all set up. The one that I will say is a little bit interesting. I think Netherlands, I think it's like could be like a boomer bust type thing with them. Just like I think they're either going to do really well or they're going to potentially kind of crash out early. They could be one of the ones that kind of don't actually pan out as you would have thought they would. Just once again, based off their name and being, number 8 ranked. I think Japan to me is the sleeper in a lot of World Cups. I think they always play so well in the World Cups. They're so like tight together. They play such good, like very clinical, clean football. And I think they're the sleepers to, I think, potentially win this group.
Yeah, I think Japan can always be a sneaky good team. They're pretty disciplined, I'd say. I think they tend to be a team with a lot of conditioning, so they give a tough fight to a lot of the teams they play. Mm-hmm. They are kind of like Mexico in the sense that they haven't made it past the round of 16. I want to say in 7 straight World Cups, which is even more than Mexico's record. So in that sense, I feel the pain of the Japanese fans. But they do have the potential, I'd say, to beat almost anyone they play. I want to say it was 2018 or 2022. They gave Belgium like such a good fight, I think, in the round of 16 to move on to the quarters. Belgium ended up winning, but it was like a super good game. So I really think this would be like the biggest challenger for the group. But I do agree with you in like the order that the teams are kind of listed right now, potentially. There's even like a mathematician who correctly picked like the last 3 World Cup winners. He has the Netherlands as a dark horse to win the tournament, which I will say, like, there's a lot of these people that predicted the last World Cups making claims all the time. People or octopus or animals. So, you never know how accurate that is. But I could see the Netherlands also being like having a deep run.
Yeah, it's funny because I feel like now with AI, you don't know what's real, what's not. But I saw that exact same graphic, and I think he said that it was going to be Netherlands against Portugal in the final, and then it was going to be Netherlands going to win. But then I saw something else with, I want to say it was FIFA doing these, like simulating the World Cup, and they had correctly, once again, like you said, correctly predicted the last 4 World Cups, and they had predicted that Spain was going to win the World Cup. So, I feel like there's so many different things going around. So if this is true, one of these guys is going to be wrong. So it's going to be, 4, it's going to stop right there at 4 predictive World Cups correctly.
Yeah, so only one of them will have that claim.
Assuming either Spain or Netherlands win. Heaven forbid France wins or Portugal wins, then everyone's screwed.
I mean, I wouldn't be opposed with the Portugal-Netherlands final because that means it's a new winner, but I would prefer Portugal in that situation.
Wow, 2 European teams, Mario.
I know. I do want the Latin American teams to do better, but if at the end of the day it's not a Latin American team, I'd like a new winner. Sorry, Spain.
Yeah, that's fair. Who do you think is the best poised to win if it's like a Latin American team?
I don't think Argentina's going to go back to back.
I think they're going to crash out early. Honestly.
Yeah, I think they're going to crash out early. I feel like a lot of teams that win are kind of victims of that success, like the following World Cup. And I actually think Messi's not going to have the best tournament. I think he's been maybe a little insulated from. I mean, he still has it. He's got the magic, but I think the team in general has been a little insulated. Like even like Germany showed up great in 2018, crashed out. Spain showed up great in 2014, crashed out.
Mm-hmm.
France showed up in 2010 as like a finalist, crashed out. Italy too, I think didn't even make it out of the group stage, so it can be tough. So I guess to answer your question, I think Ecuador could have a good run at it, and Brazil maybe with like I think they have a good mix of domestic players and European players and a good coach. But then again, a foreign coach has never won the World Cup, so I'm gonna go with Ecuador. It's crazy, but I'll go with Ecuador.
Which is wild. That's potentially the best Latin American team, that has a chance to win it. Yeah. Where you can put probably, I mean, you could argue like 6 European teams ahead of that. Just basically like
for
the
sure.
Thoughts are right 6, 7.
Netherlands, Belgium. I'm just naming some that aren't like first time or that are first time winners. That is Portugal.
Yeah, so there's a lot, man. So I mean, so it's gonna be a tough way for a Latin American team to make it to the final. Yeah, in my opinion. So we'll see, man. But let's put the predictions on. What do we got for this one? So this one, I think all 3 of us had, or 4 of us. I guess Israel's he's not here.
Yeah,
but all 3 of us had the exact same thing: Netherlands, Japan, Sweden, Tunisia. I think that's just it's pretty simple. The only one that I could see is potentially like a flip flop between Japan and Netherlands. I could very easily see Japan winning this one. Did you see the not really drama, but the stuff that they had to deal with playing in like the Tigres practice facility and then having to go to Monterrey because like they showed pictures of the practice facility. There was like it was basically like mud in part of it. It wasn't even grass. And so like the Japanese team like complained about like, we can't practice in these conditions because like, it's like not even safe to practice here. So then they got moved to Monterrey's like state of the art stadium. And they're like, okay, we're like, this is what we can play with.
Yeah. You got to treat the Japanese players well. They have a really good rep of being really gracious guests, I guess. Them and the fans. Remember like last World Cup, they left like the locker room spotless. And like the fans are like
cleaning up everything.
Clean up everything. So yeah, you treat them right. They deserve it. Get anything they need, you get it for them.
That's hilarious. But hopefully they'll be able to move to a better practice facility and get everything going. Because I think that's a big drama. I think I saw something also about Spain practicing at a high school. So
really?
Like, what is going on?
Where's the Spanish base? Oh, you said Puebla. Yeah.
No, they're in Puebla right now for a friendly. Okay. I think they have their last friendly tomorrow, and then I think they're in New Jersey, somewhere in the East Coast, but they're like at some sort of like prep high school. So honestly, it's probably a better field than some of the professional fields, if we're being honest. Yeah. Knowing some of these like prep schools and stuff. So, but I think that the whole, it was just the headline of they're in high school practicing at like a high school, stadium or practice field, which I thought was kind of funny, But now you have to get creative, right? If you have 60 teams or 48, 48 teams like coming in. There's only so many places that you're going to be able to practice. You know what I mean? So a lot can happen here. Let's see what this one is, but I think that does it for our DEF predictions. Stay tuned. We still have 2 more episodes to do our predictions and our breakdown for the last 6 groups that we have left. But that's all we got.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sweet.